Come on in, you must be freezing.
A snowstorm brought strangers to his doorstep, but what began as a single night of compassion turned into a journey that would shatter loneliness and reveal an unexpected truth. The storm rolled in heavy that evening, blanketing the small town in thick curtains of snow. Streets grew quiet, save for the moan of the wind weaving between shuttered houses. Most families were tucked inside, safe and warm, waiting for the blizzard to pass. But in a modest house at the edge of town, 72-year-old Harold Johnson sat alone, his only company, the ticking of an old clock and the crackling fire that kept the cold at bay. Harold had lived a simple life. A retired carpenter, widowed for nearly a decade, he spent his days tending to his workshop, carving trinkets, and sipping coffee on his porch when weather allowed. His world had shrunk since his wife Eleanor passed. He had no children of his own, and his relatives lived far away. In truth, the silence had grown too heavy. Loneliness lingered in every corner of his house, pressing down on him more than the snow outside. That night, Harold was just settling into his armchair with a book when he heard it. Faint at first, then clearer. A frantic knock on the door. Startled, he set his book aside and rose, his joints protesting the sudden movement. He opened the door, and the bitter wind slapped his face. On the porch stood a young man and woman, their cheeks flushed with cold, and between them, 2 children. The little girl clutched a ragged teddy bear, while the boy sagged in his mother's arms, his face pale and burning with fever. "Sir, we're so sorry to bother you," the man stammered. "We lost power at our place. The heat's gone. The phone lines are down. Our boy's sick, and we didn't know where else to go." Harold looked at the boy, then back at the shivering family. His heart clenched. Without a word, he stepped aside. "Get in here, all of you." The family hurried inside, grateful for the blast of warmth that greeted them. Harold shut the door against the storm, then led them toward the fire. The mother, Lisa, she introduced herself, laid her son, Ben, on the couch. Her husband, Tom, tried to explain through his embarrassment, but Harold waved him off. "No need for apologies. You did right, bringing him in from that cold. Let's see about warming him up." Harold fetched extra blankets and brewed tea, moving with a steadiness that surprised even himself. Soon, the fire roared brighter, coats hung to dry, and mugs of steaming liquid thawed frozen hands. The little girl, Emma, sat cross-legged near the hearth, stroking Harold's old cat, whiskers twitching with delight. For the first time in years, Harold's house felt alive. Laughter echoed faintly when Emma asked about the carved wooden birds on the mantel. Lisa whispered thanks when Ben stirred and sipped water, his fever easing. Tom offered to shovel Harold's walk once the storm passed. To Harold, it all seemed unreal. He had expected another night of silence, another reminder of what he'd lost. Instead, here was warmth, chatter, and the messy, comforting noise of family life. The storm raged on for 2 days. Roads were buried, and neighbors remained locked inside. During that time, the Johnson home became a refuge not just from the blizzard, but from despair. The family shared stories by firelight, ate meals cobbled together from Harold's pantry, and even played a few games of cards. Emma begged Harold to teach her how to carve, and soon her small hands clumsily shaped wood under his patient guidance. When the snow finally relented, the Millers, Tom, Lisa, Emma, and little Ben, didn't just thank Harold and leave. They kept returning. At first, it was simple neighborly gestures, a casserole from Lisa, Tom splitting wood for Harold's stove, Emma checking in on the cat. But as weeks turned into months, the visits grew frequent. For Harold, the transformation was subtle, but profound. His mornings no longer began in silence. He often woke to find Emma bounding up the porch steps, her voice chirping a bright, "Good morning." He taught Ben how to sand wood without splinters. Lisa insisted on cooking dinner together once a week. Tom helped repair Harold's sagging fence. The loneliness that had once wrapped around Harold like an icy shroud began to melt. His house, once heavy with ghosts, now hummed with warmth and laughter. But life has a way of testing fragile joy. One autumn evening, Harold collapsed in his workshop. He woke in a hospital bed, his body weak, his chest aching. Tom and Lisa sat by his side, worry etched deep in their faces. Emma clutched his hand, refusing to let go. "You scared us," Lisa said softly. "We thought we were going to lose you." Harold managed a faint smile. "Takes more than a tumble to get rid of me." Still, the truth weighed on him. He wasn't getting younger. His body faltered more each year, and he feared becoming a burden. He told himself the family would drift away eventually, their lives too busy to revolve around an old man. But he was wrong. The Millers only grew closer. They checked on him daily, drove him to appointments, and kept his pantry stocked. One evening after dinner, Emma said what Harold had secretly longed to hear. "You're like our grandpa," she whispered, curling into his side. Harold's throat tightened. He had never known what it was to be called that. And yet, in that moment, he felt it. Family, not by blood, but by choice. Still, shadows lingered. Harold's estranged son, David, who lived in the city, returned after hearing of his father's illness. He brought with him his wife, Samantha, a woman whose disdain dripped from every glance at Harold's modest home. Samantha criticized the food, the furniture, even the family that surrounded Harold. She saw the Millers as intruders, exploiting an old man's kindness. Her cruelty grew bolder. She turned the Millers away, accused Lisa of overstepping, and once, in a moment Emma secretly recorded, shoved the old cat aside with a sneer. When Harold discovered the truth through Emma's footage, the betrayal cut deep, but it also opened David's eyes. He had long ignored his father, believing distance easier than closeness. Yet now, faced with his wife's venom and his father's frailty, he could no longer pretend. In a tearful confrontation, David sent Samantha away. For the first time in years, he sat with his father and admitted his failures. Harold, weak but resolute, placed a hand on his son's shoulder. "We can't change the years we lost," Harold whispered, "but we can choose not to waste the ones we have left." The following winter, as snow dusted the town once more, Harold made a decision. Sitting with David and the Millers, he held out a brass key, the key to his home. "This house has been mine for decades," he said. "But it isn't just mine anymore. It's been filled with your laughter, your care, your love. I want it to remain that way. When I'm gone, this home belongs to all of you." Lisa's eyes brimmed with tears. Tom gripped his hand. Emma flung her arms around his neck. David, standing quietly nearby, nodded in agreement, a peace settling in his heart. Harold's life, once defined by solitude, had been rewritten by a single choice on a snowy night. He thought he was just helping a family, but in truth, he had saved himself as well. Because sometimes the smallest act of kindness doesn't just change another's path, it alters the course of your own life forever.